Welcome dear friends to my video lecture on the contribution of Mary Wollstonecraft. We are going to just talk about her mission in education and what she contributed in education those days. Let us straight away enter into the topic. The contribution of Mary Wollstonecraft to the development of educational thought for social change. Mary Wollstonecraft was an important thinker in the late 18th century. She is best known for her book A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, published in 1792. In this work, she argued for women's rights and emphasized the importance of education for women. Wollstonecraft believed that education could lead to social change. Her ideas have had a lasting impact on education and social justice. This video will discuss Wollstonecraft's contributions to educational thought and how she promoted social change. Need for education, according to her. Wollstonecraft believed that education was essential for everyone, especially women. At that time, women had limited access to education. In her times, society expected women to focus on marriage and family. Wollstonecraft argued that this was unfair, unjust. She claimed that if women received a good education, they could become more than just wives and mothers. They could be thinkers, writers, and active members of society. Wollstonecraft emphasized that education should not only focus on domestic skills, that is family affairs. Instead, it should teach women to think critically and make informed decisions. She believed that education could empower women to challenge their roles in society. By providing women with knowledge, they could contribute to social change. What is the rationality and virtue? What is rationality and virtue according to her? Wollstonecraft also stressed the importance of rationality. She argued that women, like men, were capable of reason. However, society often treated women as inferior. Wollstonecraft wanted to change this view. She believed that women should be educated to develop their reasoning skills. Education could help women understand their rights and the world around them. Wollstonecraft linked education to virtue. She argued that a good education would lead to virtuous behavior. When women were educated, they would make better choices for themselves and their families. This would lead to a better society overall. Educated women could raise educated children, creating a positive cycle of knowledge and virtue. She challenged the social norms in her times. Wollstonecraft's ideas challenged the social norms of her time. She criticized the belief that women should be passive and submissive. Instead, she encouraged women to be active participants in their own lives. Education was a key tool in this process. Wollstonecraft believed that educated women could demand their rights and advocate for change. Her work inspired many women to seek education and challenge traditional roles. As women became more educated, they began to question the restrictions placed on them by the society. This questioning led to movements for women's rights and social change. Wollstonecraft's ideas laid the groundwork for future generations of women who fought for equality. Certainly, her thoughts influenced later thinkers. Wollstonecraft's contributions to educational thought influenced many later thinkers and movements. Her emphasis on the importance of education for women inspired the women's rights movement in the 19th and 20th centuries. Figures like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton drew on Wollstonecraft's ideas in their own advocacy for women's rights. In addition, her thoughts on education influenced the educational reformers. John Dewey, an important educational philosopher, believed in the importance of education for democracy and social change. His ideas echoed Wollstonecraft's belief that education could empower individuals and promote a just society. She had a lasting impact on the welfare of the women. Today, Wollstonecraft's contributions to educational thought remain relevant even now. We still recognize the importance of education in promoting social change. Her ideas about gender equality and the need for women's education continue to inspire movements for social justice around the world. In many countries, girls still face barriers to education. Wollstonecraft's advocacy for women's education reminds us of the ongoing struggle for equal access to education. Her belief that education can transform lives and societies is still a powerful message today. What could we give as concluding remarks? In conclusion, Mary Wollstonecraft made significant contributions to the development of educational thought for social change. She argued for women's education, challenged the social norms, and emphasized the importance of rationality and virtue. Her ideas inspired many and continue to influence movements for equality and justice. Wollstonecraft believed that education could empower individuals and promote a better society. Her legacy lives on as we continue to strive for social change through education. Some of the questions we could examine. What is Mary Wollstonecraft best known for? Her role in the American Revolution, her book A Vindication of the Rights of Women, her contributions to science, her work in the arts. What is the correct answer? What is Mary Wollstonecraft famous for? Mary Wollstonecraft is primarily known for her influential book advocating for women's rights. That is the Vindication of the Rights of Women. That is the name of the book. In what year was A Vindication of the Rights of Women published? That is in 1792. The book was published in 1792, making it a significant text in the fight for women's rights. What did Wollstonecraft believe was essential for everyone? Wealth, education, marriage, power. Certainly education. Wollstonecraft argued that education was crucial for personal and social development. What did Wollstonecraft argue against regarding women's roles? Women should be educated in the arts. Women should focus solely on domestic duties. Women should not have any roles. Women should be leaders. What is the correct answer? What did Wollstonecraft argue against regarding women's roles? Women should focus solely on domestic duties. Wollstonecraft challenged the idea that women should only be responsible for domestic tasks. So she challenged this idea. Only for family tasks women should exist. This is the idea the ancient India was having. And in her times, that is the idea the society was having. She was against this particular idea. What type of skills did Wollstonecraft believe women should develop? Only domestic skills, artistic skills, critical thinking and reasoning skills, athletic skills. So, what type of skills she wanted from women? She emphasized the importance of critical thinking and reasoning for women. How did Wollstonecraft view the relationship between education and virtue? Education has no impact on virtue. Education leads to vice. A good education leads to virtuous behavior. Virtue is innate, so education is unnecessary. So which is the right one? How did Wollstonecraft view the relationship between education and virtue? That is, a good education leads to virtuous behavior. So that is the relationship she found. She believed that education would foster virtuous behavior in individuals. What societal norms did Wollstonecraft challenge? What societal norms did Wollstonecraft aim to challenge? Economic norms, gender norms, artistic norms, political norms. Gender norms, because she wanted women to be equal with the men, the gender norms. She aimed to challenge the traditional roles and expectations of women in society. It is unequal in their status. They should be submissive to their husbands or men. What was Wollstonecraft's view on women's rights? Women do not need rights. Women should only have limited rights. Women should have equal rights as men. Women's rights are unimportant. What was Wollstonecraft's view on women's rights? Wollstonecraft strongly advocated for equal rights for women. Which movement was influenced by Wollstonecraft's ideas? The labor movement, the environmental movement, the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement. That is the women's rights movement. Of course, as a woman, she was fighting for the justice, for the liberation of women. Her advocacy for women's education and rights inspired the women's rights movement. Who were two prominent figures inspired by Wollstonecraft? Abraham Lincoln and Franklin D. Roosevelt, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Mary Curie and Ada Lovelace, Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. So, who were the two prominent figures inspired by Wollstonecraft? They are nothing but this Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were significant advocates for women's rights, influenced by Wollstonecraft. So that is the idea here. What did Wollstonecraft believe educated women could do? Follow orders blindly, make informed decisions and advocate for change, focus only on family life, ignore societal issues. According to Wollstonecraft, women should make informed decisions and advocate for change. She believed that educated women could engage actively in society and advocate for their rights, justice, equality, in the society. Which philosopher's ideas echoed Wollstonecraft's beliefs about education? Which philosopher's ideas echoed Wollstonecraft's beliefs about education? That is John Dewey. John Dewey's ideas about education and democracy align or correspond to the Wollstonecraft's views on education. What societal change did Wollstonecraft hope education would promote? More wealth for men, a society with better educated individuals, a return to traditional gender roles, increased class divisions. Which is the right one? What societal change did Wollstonecraft hope education would promote? That is, this society with better educated individuals. She envisioned the education as a means to improve society through better informed individuals, enlightened individuals. What did Wollstonecraft see as a consequence of women's education? Decreased family values, increased ignorance, better upbringing of children, increased poverty. What did Wollstonecraft see as a consequence of women's education? Educated women were seen as capable of raising educated and virtuous children. Wollstonecraft's ideas were significant for which aspect of society? Sports, education, politics, religion. That is education. Her ideas were pivotal in shaping thoughts around women's education and rights. What is one impact of Wollstonecraft's work today? No relevance in modern society, continued struggle for women's education and rights, complete gender equality achieved, education considered unimportant. What is one impact of Wollstonecraft's work today? That is continued struggle for women's education and rights. Even now, so many women are inspired by her, and then they indulge in, fight for, their rights, equal rights. How did Wollstonecraft link education to social justice? Education is unrelated to social issues. Education empowers individuals to fight for their rights. Education creates social hierarchies. Education is only for the wealthy. How did Wollstonecraft link education to social justice? That is, education should empower individuals to fight for their rights. She argued that education equips individuals to advocate for their rights and seek social justice. What did Wollstonecraft criticize about society's view of women? Women are overly educated. Women are considered equal to men. Women are treated as inferior. Women are not involved in society. What is the correct answer? What did Wollstonecraft criticize about society's view on women? She criticized the perception of the society that women were inferior to men. She did not agree to this conservative idea. What was one of Wollstonecraft's main arguments in her book? Women should stay at home. Men are superior to women. Women deserve the same educational opportunities as men. Education is a luxury. So what was one of Wollstonecraft's main arguments in her book, that is, women deserve the same educational opportunities as men. She argued that women should have equal access to education as men. Wollstonecraft's legacy is most associated with which of the following? Wollstonecraft's legacy is most connected with which of the following? Advancements in science and the fight for women's rights and education, the development of new technologies, economic theories. Of course, by this time would have guessed the correct answer. It is the fight for women's rights and education. Her legacy is closely linked to the movement for women's rights and education. What kind of changes did Wollstonecraft envision for society? Changes only in education, changes that would limit women's rights, changes that promote equality and justice, no changes at all. What kind of changes did Wollstonecraft envision the society? That is, changes that promote equality and justice. She envisioned a society where equality and justice were central values. What did Wollstonecraft believe about women raising children? Education does not impact child rearing. Educated women can raise more educated children. Only men should be involved in education. Women should not raise children. What did Wollstonecraft believe about women raising education? Educated women are seen as better equipped to raise educated and informed children. Which of the following best summarizes Wollstonecraft's view on women's education? Education is only for men. Women should be educated to fulfill their roles in the home. Education is essential for women to achieve equality. Women do not need education at all. Which of the following best summarizes Wollstonecraft's view on women's education? Wollstonecraft believed education was crucial for achieving gender equality. Wollstonecraft's advocacy led to which type of societal movements? Wollstonecraft's advocacy led to which type of societal movements? Movements for increased domestic duties, movements focused on women's rights and education, movements to maintain traditional roles, movements against education. That is, movements focused on women's rights and education. Her work, that Wollstonecraft's work, inspired movements advocating for women's rights and access to education. How did Wollstonecraft believe educated women could influence society? By remaining silent, by becoming passive observers, by actively participating and advocating for change, by following traditional roles. Mary Wollstonecraft believed that educated women could take active roles in advocating for societal change. Thank you very much, dear friends. God bless you abundantly. Kindly subscribe and you give your suggestions also. Whether this is all right, whether you need something more than this, you can always pinpoint those ideas in the comments column. So thank you very much. God bless you abundantly.